This is the first one. I mean, I think some people came to the launch, but this is the first of these kinds of things. I just want to start by saying, I don't actually think it is your guys' fault. I think in many ways we just live in a structure that it's impossible to fight with the political establishment that we currently have. So for me, it's not about, I don't think blaming anyone that came before us does us any favors. I honestly don't really think blaming anyone but those who are actually at fault does us any favors. And those who are at fault are the ones who have created the most wealth, created the most inequality, created a system, a culture in which we all look and blame each other for things, so we don't look up and see where it's all actually going.
Yes.
I obviously doing this here has a lot of emotion for me. I used to come to parties here. And definitely do things I wasn't supposed to out there on the porch. But it's Sorrento. So Sorrento in the summer for teenagers was fun. I've obviously known many of you my whole life. I really appreciate you coming out. A lot of new faces as well. I hope that I get to meet a lot more of you. Much of the point of this campaign, the point of this run, is because I am just utterly convinced that we have a politics that just does not care about people. It's a politics that cares about money. It's a politics that cares about established power. It does not seem to any longer represent the wishes or the desires of regular Americans. And it's all doing that in the service of extracting as much from the average American as possible while providing them the least amount of services and the least amount of support. And it has to end. It cannot continue. It is entirely unsustainable. And to me, the evidence of that unsustainability is the political environment we live in today. Look, I'm no fan of Donald Trump. I think that we are living in a corrupt, authoritarian regime. I also think that we have a symptom of a deeper problem. And until we start addressing those deeper problems, we may find ourselves back here again and again and again. And the only way that we address that is by building power. Real power. Power down here. Power that we can then leverage to fight for the things that matter for the American working family. And right now, we don't have that. I don't want to be up here casting blame and aspersions. Frankly, there's enough blame to go around. What I do know, though, is that whatever comes next, it has to look different. It has to be an entirely different type of politics than the one that we have been using for the past 40 years at least. What gives me a lot of hope and inspiration, though, is it's not a new politics. There are legacies, there are playbooks in American history that we can look to for inspiration for the work to come. It's the labor movement. It's the civil rights movement. These were movements built not on asking permission from the power structures. We didn't get an 8-hour work week because somebody wrote a letter to their congressman and said it was a good idea. We got an 8-hour work week because people organized and fought. And they fought hard. And sometimes they fought. That is a energy that has been lost. And in many ways, I think it has been stolen from us. It has been taken from us in a rewriting of history. It has been taken from us with a cultural idea that all you have to do is maybe go hold a sign. But you got to do more than that. The civil rights movement was a campaign. Rosa Parks was not some random woman on a bus. Rosa Parks was an activist. She was on that bus on purpose. She was part of a deeper strategy tied into a huge network across the South of activists working for the same thing. She put herself out there, she made herself uncomfortable, she took risks. And we now look back on that and we see her as a hero, but we forget that she was part of something much deeper. We need to rebuild that. And the scary part is, nobody's coming down here to build it for us. Nobody's coming down from DC. Nobody's coming down with a bunch of support to give you the structures. It's on us to rebuild it ourselves. What this campaign is, at its core, is a firm belief that working people need to learn again how to organize, how to build power, how to use that power to go fight for the things that matter. Things like Medicare for all. Things like housing solutions that don't just put public funds into affordable housing, but also are coupled with programs that put Americans in homes that they own when they get to the point in their life where they want to live in a home. Right now, as many of you know, people my age and younger around here, home ownership is barely an option. I bought my house in 2017. If that hadn't happened, I would not be able to live here. My house today is worth far more than I could ever afford on a mortgage. The house down the street from me just got listed for a number that is so astronomically outside of mine and my wife's capabilities that it's like hard to even fathom. That's going to drive people out of the state of Maine. It's going to drive it already is driving young people out of the state of Maine. That housing crisis though, that's not just Maine. You can't just pick up and go somewhere else. I give oyster tours, as many of you know. All summer, past 2 years, I take people out from all over the country. Everybody talks about the same two problems. Healthcare is way too expensive and nobody can afford a place to live. You take people out from Wyoming, take people out from Seattle, take people out from Boston, it's the same story over and over and over again. And the problem that means is that we can't just fix it in the State House. We can't just fix it here in Maine. We need bigger systemic fixes. And we're only going to get those by fighting for them at the federal level. The only blame that I will say, or the only aspersions I will cast, is that right now, outside of a very few courageous people in politics, I don't see the courage, I don't see the energy, I don't see the commitment to justice and equality that is necessary to actually fight for these things. We need to rebuild the Democratic Party. We need to turn the Democratic Party back into the party that it has purported to be now for 30 years. It needs to be a party of the working class. It needs to be a party for unions. It needs to be a party for big structural change. Things like Social Security, things like Medicaid and Medicare. These were big programs. They cost a lot of money. And people at the time said, you can't do this, this won't work, this is going to fail. And here we are today, those programs, despite the attempts by Republicans and some Democrats to destroy those programs, despite those attempts, they are still the most popular programs in the United States, hands down. We need to expand those programs. We need to protect those programs. When people use the word Social Security and privatization in the same sentence, somebody needs to go make that person very uncomfortable. Somebody needs to go impose a cost. We need activists out there holding signs outside of restaurants that people dine in if they use words like that. Because that is disgusting. Social Security is what keeps so much of our nation's elderly out of poverty. The concept of turning that into a piggy bank for somebody in private equity is insane. It's immoral, and it also doesn't work structurally. Who here knows about the cap? on Social Security? Anybody? Okay. There is a cap on what you pay into Social Security. All of us, most working people, you're going to pay, and your percentages go up as you go towards $170,000 a year, roughly. Once you get to 170, every dollar you make above that does not pay into the system. It's not that it doesn't pay in percentage-wise. Someone who makes $20 million a year in wages pays the exact same amount of money as somebody that pays $170,000 a year. If we simply remove the cap, we don't even have to change the percentages, just make all the wages pay in. Social Security is funded forever and always, and we get to expand benefits. It is an absolute travesty that that is not something that most working people in this country even know about. For me, this is a weird opportunity. As many of you know, much of what I'm saying here right now is if you drink beer with me at 3 in the morning around my kitchen counter, I'm saying the exact same nonsense. And so there's this element where I'm just up here railing about the same stuff. But in this Senate run, since Tuesday, it's become immensely clear with the reaction that somebody really just needed to say it. That deep down inside, everybody knew the same thing the whole time. We knew that the system was not working for working people. We knew that the system was not built to help people. It is functioning as built to extract as much wealth out of the working class of this country and move it up into the stratosphere. And what's amazing to me too is that where that money goes, it doesn't go to people who are doing well. There are a lot of people in this room who I know who do well, have done very well. And we're not even on the stratosphere of where all that money goes. It's an unfair system. It's a system that is built specifically to make sure that very, very few get almost everything and everybody else has to fight around for the crumbs. We gotta change it. And the only way we're gonna change it is by fighting for it. The only way we're gonna change it is by sending up people from the real world to fight for things that those of us down here in the real world know that we need. Like affordable health care, like real housing, like ending foreign wars that I had to fight in. Foreign wars that at this point are going to cost us as high as $3 trillion. And all we got out of it was a generation of young men and women with bad dreams and a bunch of defense contractors with their 14th house.
Whoa. That's good.
I used to have the bad dreams until the VA gave me really good support. Now I don't, thank God.
Dang, that's a good line.
On that note, I'm just going to say this a quick aside. Many of you know that I've been able to build a really great business here. I took over Jock's Oyster Farm. I'm not going to call you out, Jock, I'm making it comfortable. I got to put a lot of energy and time into building that business. And today it's a robust local business. It's successful. We have an employee, one, but Rob and I do a lot of the labor ourselves. My wife has been able to take over as the business manager. I only got to do that because I have, and this is a weird thing to say, I have the luck of being a disabled veteran. I have the advantage of having to do 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan that left me with the problems I had that got me help from the VA. And it was only that help from the VA that allowed me to build what I have today. I got health care, good health care. I got support that allows me to keep a roof over my head. Unlike what a lot of people say when they talk about supporting people, I didn't just go home and smoke pot and play video games and not do anything. People don't want to do that. People want to build. They want to create stuff. They want to be a part of their community because that's what makes all of this worth it. But you can't do that when you are one broken leg away from being ruined financially. You can't chase your dreams when you have to just work 3 jobs so you can pay your rent, which is more than 50% of your monthly income. We don't get to have the society we deserve because we're not using the resources we have created to support the people that do the work. My politics are my politics today because of the support I got from the VA. And I don't think that the bar to foundational support in this country should having to go fight in stupid foreign wars and watch your friends die. We have enough in this country where we can share that in a way that everybody gets that support just by dint of being an American. And they deserve it. We all deserve it. It's a great saying in the nautical world, a rising tide lifts all ships. Yeah, that's true. It does. And we need to start treating our society like that. We need to start living in a society where we actually give a shit about our neighbors and about our communities. And we can do that. It's going to be a hard fight, though. As many of you may know, since we announced this, many of the powers that be are not pleased. We didn't wait. We didn't ask permission. And for that, we've got some friction. I think it's entirely overcomable friction, to be honest. There is a moment right now in American history where we are on a precipice. We are looking over into the deepest, worst parts of our possible future political system. But I don't believe we are there yet. I don't believe that it is time to give up hope. I know that I sound angry, and I am. I know that I sound a bit like a firebrand, and I am. But all of this comes because I still think we haven't gone over the edge. The material conditions that people are living in today, the material conditions that are going to get worse when the Medicaid and Medicare cuts come down the pipe from the big billionaire budget bill that just passed. Sorry, too many B's. Things are going to get worse. Things are going to get worse before they get better. But the work that we have to do in our communities to protect ourselves from what's coming is the exact same work that's going to give us the strength to push back, to build more power, and to go send people back down to Washington who are going to be able to fight for the working class. We're going to be able to rebuild the Democratic Party as a party of the working class. I have a lot of hope here. What I'm asking of all of you here tonight is that I want you to have that hope with me. I want you to believe that it's not over yet. That we still have a chance. And if we work hard, and if we get uncomfortable, and if we get ready to go fight for the things that we actually need, for the world that we all know that we need to build, I have immense faith that that world will one day come. I can't do this alone, and so now's the awkward part. I need your money. So I was just informed before I came up here, we're $15,000 shy of hitting $500,000 this year. For a campaign for a guy that on Monday nobody knew outside of Sullivan, Maine, and Sorrento, and Hancock is a Leslie. My mom, she owns Iron Bound. that's a hell of a good show. But we need more. We're not taking PAC money. We're not taking corporate PAC money. We're doing only individual donations. For those of you who are lucky to write big checks, we need it. For those of you who aren't, $5, $2, it doesn't matter. And again, I'm just going to say this. This is part of this whole. We are not reinventing the wheel. I think many people remember Bernie Sanders' average thing was $26. Bernie raised a hell of a lot of money on this exact same mechanism. We got to do it again. We didn't get what we wanted, some of us back then, but that's okay. We're going to come back and we're going to keep trying. And if we don't get what we need this time, what we build here, much like what has been built before us, moves us closer. And so I just ask you to pitch in. There's a table outside. We obviously will accept checks. Checks are great. We don't have to pay any servicing fees. GrahamForSenate.com is the website. There are donation links. We need the help. We're probably not going to get the help from the establishment until they realize they've got no goddamn choice. And I'm looking forward to that. But for us to get there, we need to build something big. And I'm going to leave you with this. While I need your money, the other thing I need is you. We're not going to beat them with the money. We don't have enough and we never will. But we're going to beat them with people. We're going to beat them with old school organizing. We're going to set up offices. We're going to hire organizers and volunteer coordinators. We're going to bring people in to do politics the way that politics is supposed to be done, which is banging on your neighbor's doors, feeling a little uncomfortable, and talking to people about why the future can be better and how we're going to get it. We need that help. So if you can donate, that's great. If you can donate and volunteer, that's great. If all you can do is volunteer, that's great too. If you don't live in Maine and you can't vote, you can phone back. You can help us in ways that might seem minuscule, but when we add it all up, we're going to be able to build something real. And what we build cannot go away when this is done. What we build cannot disappear when I go to the United States Senate. It needs to stay. It needs to stay because the fights that are going to come down in D.C., they're going to be really hard. And we're going to need to be able to call back up to Maine to put pressure on the rest of the Maine delegation. We're going to call back up to Maine to get everybody who got involved in this, everybody who joined their local community organization that isn't part of the campaign, but is part of the larger movement. We're going to need to leverage all of that to put pressure back up the chain. The pressure has been coming down for far too long. It is time we start putting some pressure back up. And I'm asking you all to join me in this fight and make the powers that be do what we know needs to be done. Thank you very much.